Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for July 24th. So, I thought today it might be kind of interesting to take a look at sort of, Trump Incorporated, Trump family businesses. I want to take a look at, there's a lot of talk about what's going to go on, right? I mean, he loses the election. Does he just blanket pardon everybody? Is that ultimately going to be able to prove something that's legal? Just as, there's talk about him trying to pardon himself. I'm just quite sure that's not at all how that pardon power is supposed to work. Some people are saying he's going to resign, a few hours before the inauguration and make Pence president, who would then pardon Trump. So there's sort of a lot of speculation going on about, what might be going on or might not be going on. And so I thought I would try to take a look and see if we can get a handle on, what it's going to look like after Trump leaves office as far as, Trump Incorporated, right? The Trump companies, all of the kids, that kind of thing. So I don't know, how much clarity I'm going to get, but I thought it would be worth a try. So come on down. I have a question. For all of my new subscribers, thank you ever so much for being here. It's just wonderful. I hope that this channel brings you some comfort, some enlightenment, maybe a couple of good laughs along the way. But I thank you ever so much for being here, and of course for all of the views and the likes and the shares and the comments. They're every one of them brilliant, and I thank you. All right, let's look at it this way. Trump family business, Trump family business, Trump family business. Okay. All right, let's just shift this a little bit so you can see all of them. Okay, so this is what this particular grouping of cards is telling me. So these two cards very definitely are indicating business opportunities, communications, and it very much feels like behind the scenes, there is a great deal of energy being put into solidifying business opportunities, clearly with, more primarily, I guess I'll say it that way, with foreign countries. So in some ways, truly, Trump's wish came true. He wanted to run for president because it was going to be fabulous for the Trump brand. People were going to know it. It was going to be more broadly, known. The name was going to have more, power and authority and whatever behind it. Well, okay, so this is it. So he absolutely used the presidency to line his pockets. He absolutely used the presidency to keep his coffers full, whether it is Trump personally, the Trump children, the Trump organization. Hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent at Trump hotels, at Mar-a-Lago, patents given to Ivanka. You've got Jared and the Saudis going on. So there's like a lot was accomplished in terms of the Trump financial state while he was president. He did it, okay? And the question really boils down to is, can it be reversed, right? Like, are there some things that we can actually do, or are there things that can be done to sort of correct some of the absolutely financial gluttony that went on with Trump and his family over the last 3.5, it's going to be 4 years. So this is the thing to be very clear about. The Trumps are very much up to their tricks, okay? They are working very busily behind the scenes. The writing is on the wall. The vast majority of them recognize that this election is not going to be a shoo-in for Trump. In fact, with every day that goes by, it looks like it's going to be less and less of anything he's even going to be able to achieve. So they're very busy shoring up their assets, behind the scenes, because this was, their one big shot at the brass ring. And I'm telling you, man, they grabbed that ring for all it had in it, and they shook it until there was very little that they didn't somehow benefit from. But so this is interesting, right? Because in some crazy way, Trump sort of thinks that this is the thing. Trump's ego is involved and he doesn't want to lose the election, but Trump doesn't want to win it either. He doesn't want to do another 4 years of this. It's stifling his style. It's making him crazy. Everybody's always picking on the poor guy. He wants to end this presidency, so he thinks he can start raking in all kinds of money on, speaking engagements and tours and expanding his business and going back to being the reality TV star, going back to sort of running the business the way he feels is appropriate and legal in his mind. And so very interesting, because on the one hand, they're up to their tricks. They're trying to protect themselves as best they can, but they're not as usual because they're not very clever. They're kind of not seeing all the different ways, all the different opportunities that really can come after not only him, but them. Like, he doesn't see it. He thinks that Bill Barr is going to squash everything that can possibly be squashed. But he would be wrong. But that's sort of right now, that's where their head is at. It's kind of like they're trying very hard to prevent a calamity befalling the family. And again, don't forget, there are those groups of people, the Trumps within the Trump circle, who believe the 25% who say he's unbelievable and they're voting him back in 4 more years. And so to some degree, they're all kind of operating in this kind of little fuzzy space where they sort of understand reality, except I don't know that they've necessarily figured out it actually applies to them too. I'm not quite sure if they figured that out. So they're very, very busy, doing things behind the scenes, keeping things quiet, trying to get stuff in order. Again, with the partnerships, this is all about strengthening who they are and what they are and how much they literally steal and walk away with. So, for whatever victory they think is coming, and I have to prepare you, there's going to be some victories that by and large people are not frankly going to appreciate. I have been asked several times, is Trump going to go to jail? And every time I ask that question energetically, the answer is no. Some of Trump's associates are probably going to go to jail. Certainly, some of the people within his administration are going to be looking at some rather significant investigations. But this is the thing. Trump can be punished in a lot of ways. But if the new government literally makes it a mission to go after this guy so he is in jail. It's going to do nothing more than solidify or concrete that sort of banana republic feeling of, my God, it's bad enough they were run, by a virtual dictator for 4 years, but now the new government is heaving him in jail exactly the way they do in countries with no democracy. So I'm not saying it is or isn't. I'm saying brace yourself for the possibility that sort of seeing him carted off and wearing that lovely orange jumpsuit, which hands down, he's gonna rock that, right? I mean, the orange suit, the orange face, it's gonna be a good look for him. I just don't see it happening. I'm not saying it's not, but as of right now, it feels as if sort of the consensus is, let's go after him, but let's, make sure that if he actually does end up being sentenced, that it really doesn't look like it is sort of a vengeance and retaliation for how terrible he was. So there's sort of, just prepare yourself for that. People around him, yeah, they're going to be having some lovely little fashion statements themselves with the orange. Trump, I'm just not sure about. And you know what? This is it. It doesn't matter, because ultimately he is done. Done. Okay? His name, aside from a very small grouping of people, and that's globally I'm talking about, so I don't know, 25% in America, 50% in Russia, I don't know, maybe a few people in China. Beyond that, though, the name is shot. The reputation is shot. Financially, he is going to be in litigation for the rest of his life. I swear to you. It is as if, because this is the thing, right? Even if, they manage to sort of skirt some of this stuff, they're absolutely going to go back to the behavior that they were exhibiting before. And more importantly, they're absolutely going to be even cockier than they were. So they're like, realistically, does anybody out there think that there's a 100% chance, hell, even a 50% chance, that running roughshod all over American institutions for 4 years, they're going to leave the White House and all of a sudden be business saints and pillars of society? Of course not. They're going to keep on doing exactly what they've been doing. Frankly, it's the only thing they know how to do. And so there you have ongoing. They're never, ever going to be out of shadows of investigations. And once he leaves office, there is going to be so much stuff that is going to be uncovered that there's going to be an even bigger sort of decrease, if you will, of his popularity, of his support system, of those people who he is counting on to keep him. It's not, it's in power, maybe. It feels more like relevant. That was the word I often used with Rudy Giuliani. Was his big thing was he just wanted to be relevant again, and that was sort of why he attached himself and latched on to Trump, like he was the last great savior. So there's going to be so much stuff coming out that they're really not going to be able to escape. And so things that have been hidden, things that would have infuriated people had we known, we don't know, but we're going to be finding out. And it's not going to be frankly pretty for them. It's really not. And things are going to happen fairly quickly. Okay, I'm going to drill back down because I want to see if we can look at a couple of these people, kind of individually, if you will. So, while I'm doing this, I just want to, again, take another moment. Thank you for the donations. They're brilliant. So appreciated. So very, very much appreciated. If you are looking for a private reading, I am booking early August. And so you can go down and look in the description box below, and you will find an email address where you can just send me out a request for information, and I will reply. All right, let's drill down. I want to take a look. Let's start with Jared and Ivanka. Let's see what's going to go on in their little world in, end of January, February, March of 2021. Jared and Ivanka, Jared and Ivanka, Jared and Ivanka. Okay. So exactly as I said, a few minutes, for right now, as long as they're in the White House, they are doing absolutely everything they can to solidify Trump, the Trump family, the Trump businesses, absolutely everything they can do so that they are in a good position. Because let me tell you right now, wowzers, there is a lot of anxiety rolling around in that family group. People are stressed out, they're anxious, they're worried. They're worried about not only what they're going to lose, but they're also worried about what people are going to find out about them. In some ways, it's almost like they're more worried about stuff that's going to come out after the fact than the stuff that's currently going on that we know about. Okay, so there's hidden stuff, and let me tell you, there is some deep concern and worry and anxiety going on. They stand as a couple. They are well suited for each other. They are just both vacant and shallow, incapable of the jobs and titles they afford themselves. And for them, it's just all about the image. It's just about looking good, being seen in the right places, having people think they're special and important. And again, they're not because this is the thing, right? They believe that behavior is their due. Frankly, they believed it was their due before Daddy came president. And now they absolutely think it is their due. And they are going to, Ivanka in particular, she is going to pull out that title, former first daughter. Honestly, she's going to be rocking it till she's about 80 years old, okay? Because really, what else does she have? They're not understanding that the glory days, that was 2016 to 2020. And probably it was, 2000 to 2016 while they were off doing all kinds of crazy illegal stuff, but people weren't paying attention to them because they were just those ridiculously foolish Trumps, okay? They're not understanding the ramifications of that sunlight. They're so busy. They're so busy thinking about their image, their stuff, their possessions, their money. And they just don't get it. So the trouble is coming. Now, this is what I want to tell you. I want to caution you. From the way these cards are coming out, it looks as if you're not going to see something really instantaneous in terms of going after those two or investigating them or trying to unravel some of the business relationships they have and whether or not they're actually legal and that kind of thing. It looks as if the squabbling and the fighting and that is going to come, but honestly, for right now, they actually do have a little bit of a window where it's going to almost appear as if they're going to get away with it. They're just going to get off scot-free. And that's not exactly what's going to happen. But there's definitely a sense here, I'm sorry, there's definitely a sense here that in some ways they're going to be able to have some victories far more. I don't know, maybe do they shelter under the whole Kushner name all of a sudden? Do the Saudis, for example, think that maybe there's still a lot more to be gotten out of the Kushners? I don't know. But there's definitely cards here that indicate that, you know what, they're actually going to, it's going to come. It's just going to take a little bit of time. It feels like, they're going to do and say whatever they kind of need to do and say to try to get back in the good graces of the public. And okay, it's coming. Okay, it's coming. The change of fortune, because this was their gravy time. Let's face it, right? It's never going to get better than this. How can you surpass the last 4 years, really? But the change of fortune is coming, and it's because they're delusional, right? So many fingers in so many pies. Many of them were not well hidden or well protected or well secured. I actually wouldn't even be surprised if some of those patents may not necessarily all be honored. I don't know if you can revoke a patent if you're from another country, but something's going to go on with some of the things that they have already established. And again, you've got the Two of Wands and the Page of Wands showing up again. So again, that is about communications. It's about, keeping your eyes on the future, looking for the next opportunity, trying to figure out, how to make the most, because, they only have so much time left. Okay. Let's take a look at Don Jr. Okay, because at this point, of the Trump kids, Trump is probably going to pay the most attention to trying to secure Ivanka, right? She's daddy's favorite. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's see how Don Jr. is going to do. Don Jr. family business. Don Jr. family business. Don Jr. family business. Okay, so we have the King of Wands that wanted to stay on the bottom. So let's push this over here and see what we see. Interesting. Okay, so Don is not the sharpest crayon in the box. He has a lot of people around him that sort of guide him. They let him think that he's smart and brilliant and savvy, and if you say what it is, I love it. But he's actually, people keep their eyes on him because in some ways, he's really like his dad, right? He doesn't think about the ramifications of what he's going to say. And in fact, none of them do. It seems to be a trait that is completely missing in their family. Sorry about that. But he looks like he's going to be doing a little bit of suffering. There's definitely some very difficult times coming for him. He definitely looks as if he is going to be investigated somehow, some way, and secrets are going to come out. Deep things that he thought were well hidden are not going to be so well hidden. And it looks like the government somehow or another is coming after him for something. Or federal agency, FBI, I don't know, but there's going to be people looking in on what he's doing, and he is also going to be sustaining some significant loss. And the reality is, all the King of Wands here is basically saying is that he can spin it, he can think he's telling a good story, but he's the only one who believes his press clippings, right? So looks like he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. A lot of people are going to be evaluating what he's been doing, how he's behaving, and sort of wondering how much of what he's been doing is even remotely within the realm of legal. I want to take a quick look-see at Melania. Let's see what's going on with her, shall we? Melania, future financial. Melania, future financial. Melania, future financial. Interesting. Okay. As things sit now, she is really very anxious to sort of get herself out of the situation that she is in. She is so tired of it. He is volatile. And even though she doesn't spend a lot of time around him, when she is around him, it's sort of like she is the one who takes the abuse, okay, the yelling, the screaming, the raging, that kind of stuff. It sort of ends up being directed at her because kind of feels as if, believe it or not, he actually thinks with some people that think he's a raving lunatic, he's actually has beliefs that he's been on his best behavior. And with her, it of course is that familiarity, you're the one that I can go after because, you're the closest one. I mean, we all do that, okay? I'm not faulting him for that. Every single one of us have at some point, lashed out at somebody that we didn't, mean to lash out at because they were convenient, they were a target, and ultimately we knew that they would keep on loving us. But there's definitely that sense that she really is trying to get out. She very much feels like she's in jail, which is what makes these cards over here kind of interesting. Interestingly, though, it feels as if she has a change of fortune coming. Unfortunately, the cards that are surrounding her change of fortune, it's really not reading kind of like good fortune. So I'm not sure why, but again, she has justice coming out. I wonder if it's not possible if we might find out some information about her Wow. I don't know. Maybe in conjunction with Jeffrey Epstein or that Ghislaine Maxwell. Interesting. There's definitely a change of fortune coming pertaining to groups of people. Here comes justice. Here comes loss. She may actually decide for the immediate foreseeable future to stay with the Donald because it may be the only thing that she thinks is going to protect her. Wow, kind of wasn't expecting this information. You know, the reality is that by and large, they really do live very separate lives. And to some degree, she still enjoys the prestige and the status. Come on, there's a fair bit of gravitas to the name former First Lady. And I think that maybe she's not going to be all that anxious to let go of things, especially if things start getting kind of nasty. And she needs to keep her darkest secrets covered up. She needs to secure herself financially going forward. She can't risk too much exposure. But stuff is going to come out. Yeah. Okay. So this is interesting. It's not quite what I would have expected. I think I would have thought that very soon after they vacated the White House that there would have been divorce papers filed. Interesting. I'm not saying that won't happen, but it definitely looks like something's going to take place that could very well make her calculate that staying attached to the Donald is perhaps a better way to go. Okay, and we're going to do one more quick. Eric, I'm not going to look at Eric because honestly, he's sort of quietly, I mean, he does what he does and he's just as shady as the rest of them. But, you know, you can kind of see what's going to happen there, right? Trump is going to, at some point, sort of take over the helm of Trump Incorporated again. Whether he actually does or does the work or any of that is irrelevant. He's going to reclaim the title because he's so used to being called president. And Eric's kind of just going to get pushed to the side, and that's okay because Eric and his wife have made boatloads of money, certainly from the RNC, certainly from donations. All those poor white-collar people who are struggling to stay afloat, and they're making donations to the Trump campaign, and wowzers, it's flying right out the door and straight into the Trump family pockets. Donald Trump post White House, Donald Trump post White House, Donald Trump post White House. Well, he really thinks he's going to be moving on forward. That's his goal. He's not going to be wanting any judgment to rain down on him. Oh, but unfortunately, it looks like it's going to, and it doesn't look like it's going to be very present. He's going to be faced with some really difficult decisions. And because, frankly, he doesn't have the brain power, and more importantly, he doesn't listen to anybody because he's the smartest guy in the room, it looks like what he's going to be trying to decide is literally whether or not he can pardon himself, whether he can escape justice, or if there's a way to make that work because, wow, he's really scared of ending up literally behind bars, imprisoned. And he knows that once they start combing through stuff, he is done. He's going to charge ahead for a little while. He's going to be all bluster. And look, so know that whatever happens, ultimately justice wins. Lady Justice will win. The judgment, the tower, and the ending. There you go, Donald. All right? So it's Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for spending some time here at Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. If you haven't yet, take a look at the Soulprint Insights channel. I have posted links, the link to that in the description box. We've done it before, and for reasons I can't explain, it just didn't work. But it is there, so hopefully that will be helpful to you. And until the beginning of next week, enjoy the weekend, enjoy the sun if you're lucky enough to have some, and the warmth. Take care. Be well. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.